Yoga is everywhere. In popular culture, it's unavoidable.
I love yoga.
Characters in TV and film are perpetually late for yoga class.
And I'm late for yoga.
Yoga is always a suggestion as a way to drastically change one's life.
I could take up yoga.
Yoga is seemingly peppered into any conversation.
How often do you do yoga?
The characters are highly opinionated one way or another about yoga itself.
I love yoga. I hate yoga.
They're always asking each other if they do yoga.
Do you do yoga?
Yoga seems to be the butt of every joke.
Yoga, not yogurt.
And of course, sometimes yoga is just yoga.
Just yoga?
He said jealously.
Today, I will be reacting to yoga in pop culture on this edition of Ross Nation.
Ross Nation, you'll get caught up in it.
First up, we have yoga on, I love this show, Dexter. Love this show.
And here we go into another warrior pose.
The music is hilarious. Not really yoga music, but I see why they picked it. Another warrior pose. The teacher sounds bored. If the teacher sounds bored, I can only imagine how the students are going to feel. I would never say another warrior pose, another chair pose. Warrior pose. I guess it implies warrior 2, but it is unspecific. They're doing warrior 2. Okay, let's go.
Feel your hips open up.
It is a hip
We're
opener.
strong warriors, all of us.
This is absolutely, without a doubt, the worst moment of my life.
Now let's go into a little free-form yoga. Just let yourself dance.
I was wrong. This is.
Through the dust.
So, I would have to agree with Dexter. This seems like a terrible class. I would be tempted to leave if the instructor said, now for some free-form yoga. So I can't really imagine that happening in real life. But this dancing, unfortunately, I've been to classes where they kind of encourage everybody to turn it into a dance party. Imagine being dragged to a yoga class and then you're being forced to dance. What a disaster.
Dust dancing against the sunlight. Be as beautiful as the golden flakes of dust, Dexter.
I could probably kill her before anyone realized what happened.
If your yoga student wants to kill you, even if they're a serial killer, you're doing something wrong. Obviously, this yoga teacher is over the top and kind of a caricature of a yoga teacher, so that's for comedic effect, which I do appreciate. Dexter is a fantastic show. It's not like it's The Sopranos, but it's still a worthwhile show to watch, and I like what they did here. I'm gonna give this a 7 out of 10 because it's fairly accurate. They took some liberties for humor, which is fantastic. Very typical to put the guy, the alpha guy in a yoga class and have him not like it. So kind of a cliche move on that part. Overall, pretty good. Yoga seems to come up in The Simpsons quite a bit. Let's take a look.
With your rear in the air.
What position is this?
The American taxpayer. The American taxpayer.
Okay, so very self-aware, bad joke here. That could get a chuckle in a real yoga class. I would steal that. I could say that to my students.
Just let your head flop back and forth. Your neck is a well-cooked piece of asparagus.
I love this. The Simpsons are fantastic. One of my favorite shows of all time. This gets a 9 out of 10. They seem to have an official Indian yoga teacher here on the television for Homer and Marge. They're doing a basic neck circle here, which is fantastic. And he includes some humor, which is always good because if your yoga class is too serious, that could be a red flag and you might want to look somewhere else. We're going to move on to a scene from Curb Your Enthusiasm.
And raise your arms up if you can. Look up, absorbing the energy of the room and come out of it. Fantastic, yogis.
Larry is wearing socks for some reason. You can wear socks to yoga class. Usually you'll be the only one. There's only a couple of people in the class that choose to wear socks. I'm not really sure why people do that. The mat has plenty of grippiness. It's also just funny because of course Larry's gonna wear socks to yoga. He's gonna do what he wants.
First, we'll start on our shoulders in a little shoulder stand. Toes up to the sky.
I like that.
I
love that shit.
Whenever there's a yoga scene in TV or movies, the characters are able to have these sidebars where nobody hears them. You have to really whisper to have nobody hear you in a yoga class, unless there's music blaring. There's no music happening in this class, so I'm sure other people in the class hear this sexual commentary by LD.
Fold our legs over into cow. And let's take one more breath together as a group. Inhale. Take one more sip of air.
Very accurate. I've heard teachers say a sip of air. Very cringe. You don't sip air. Just take in a fucking breath, okay?
On to heart center and namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you, yogis. See you tomorrow.
Thank you, Yogi. I wanted to do the downward dog. That's my favorite one.
Love that downward dog.
I'm a big dog.
So Leon goes up to the teacher after class and said, I want to do that downward dog. And she's like, oh, you love that one. You did an entire yoga class without downward dog? Impossible. And unless it's a Bikram class, which it clearly was not, someone should have caught that. So he should not have said, I wanted to do that downward dog. He should have just said, I like that downward dog. I love that downward dog. I also like how Larry gets up as everybody's saying namaste. Clearly didn't like being there. I've taken classes like that in the past.
Excuse me, Larry, was it?
Yes.
I just noticed that you didn't namaste with the other yogis.
Okay.
Yeah, not a namaste guy. I don't participate in group activities. You know, I don't sing the birthday song, happy birthday to you, and all. So, you know.
Namaste means the light within me greets the light within you.
I don't participate in group activities. Hilarious answer. First of all, the teacher would never go up to the student and say, you didn't do namaste. I don't know if you could tell who didn't say it unless it was a very small class. I used to end my classes saying namaste, and I would never force anybody to say it. Nevertheless, criticize someone after class for not saying it.
There is no light within me. That's the only problem there.
Why don't you try it? Why don't you just try a little namaste and see how it feels?
I know how it's going to feel. I'm going to feel like an idiot.
Well, no one's here now. Why don't you just try it?
My third eye is watching.
Not how the third eye works.
You know how the third eye works, huh?
I've studied it for many years.
This show is so good.
Yeah, watch. Here's what I think about the third eye.
He's flipping her off.
Doesn't hurt at all.
It's disrespectful.
Look,
It's disrespectful.
yeah.
Just don't do that to your third eye.
I
This is
wouldn't do it to my
incredible.
two eyes, the real eyes.
Right. But third eye's real.
There's no imaginary eye here.
Are you familiar with etiquette?
But by the way, can I say
Are you
something?
familiar with etiquette?
It's really hot in here.
Well, it's hot yoga.
Does it have to be this hot? I mean, it's, you know.
Does it have to be this hot? I used to teach heated yoga classes, and you'd always have the person that said it wasn't hot enough and then the person that said it's too hot. So you can't please everybody. This was Larry's fault for not knowing that the class was heated to begin with.
Larry, you're here to be a part of our spiritual community.
No, I'm here because I have a bad hamstring.
If you're not going to acknowledge the light within yourself, then you can leave. You can leave and you cannot come back.
Wow. Very un-yogi-ish of you.
Get the fuck out.
You just made my day.
Okay, that was incredible. I love the condescending yoga teacher. That's a good way to approach this. I can't say that I've kicked anybody out of my class, although I've very much wanted to many times. I can really relate to both sides of this conversation because sometimes the yoga students aren't really getting with the program. And I've been a student in a yoga class where the teacher is pushing a program that I want no part of and I'm dying to get out of there. Yoga in Curb Your Enthusiasm, that gets an 8 out of 10. Very well done. Only a minor mistake. Very good approach with the critical yoga teacher that isn't afraid to call out the bad students, who also happens to be the protagonist of the show. The yoga teachers in these scenes always seem to be such a caricature of an actual yoga teacher, which is perfect for this kind of thing. That's it for this installment of Ross Nation. Let me know in the comments what you think and what yoga scene I should react to next. I'll see you next time on Ross Nation.
It's sometime in the future. The ultimate channel, Ross Nation.
Ross Nation, you'll get caught up in the Ross Nation. Ross Nation, you will get caught up in the Ross Nation. Ross Nation, Ross Nation, Ross Nation.
Ross Nation. you'll get caught up in it.